Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Athletic Edge, where we talk all things sports. From football, hockey, baseball, to soccer, we will cover the latest news and updates in the sports world.
High drive, deep center field. Back goes Thomas. At the wall, it's gone! Nando! Salon's going to have a go! Absolutely sensational! Circle, one push gone. He scores! Fourth and 18. He's given time. He wants Jefferson. Climbs the ladder. Oh my goodness!
That will start with soccer today. Let's get right into it, to the soccer news, into our first segment called Team Talk. Team Talk is a segment where I cover the biggest news for the biggest worldwide clubs. Now, these clubs may vary week to week, but the base of the biggest clubs will still be here, like Liverpool, Manchester City, and Real Madrid, and so on and so forth. Let's get right into it. We're going to start off with Manchester United. Manchester United are a surprise, and that is not a good thing for them, because I think many expected Manchester United, with the rich history that they've had with the transfers that they brought in, to be a good team. And they have had a very bad start to the Premier League season. A 2-0-2 record, and what's scary is their lack of chemistry. There seems to be no chemistry between the players on the pitch. Possession, the play, the passing, it's all pretty shocking from the team. If I'm a Manchester United fan, I'm worried looking on at this team and saying, these guys don't look like they can contend for a title or even get top four. They're averaging more goals against than goals for per game. That alone is embarrassing for a team that is usually in the top four or big six. And they are right smack dab in the middle for pass completion amongst Premier League teams with 82%. In the middle. And once again, they are considered a big six team. It's just a really bad start for a team that is supposed to be one of the better teams in the Premier League. And as I said, there's no chemistry, and that can be part thanks to their lack of a real leader. I don't think Bruno Fernandes, their new captain, is really doing the job well at Man United. It seems like he's whining too much to the ref, and I don't think he's really taking that lead-up role as a true leader at the club. On to our next team in Liverpool. Liverpool, I would say, are the exact opposites of Manchester United in that they have had a very good start to the season. They're 3-1-0, so they have not lost. And if I'm a Liverpool fan, I'm looking at this team and saying, wow, pleasantly surprised. They got their midfield rebuild done. They got Alexis McAllister, Wataru Endo, Ryan Gravenberch just recently signed, and the big man that I'm going to talk about, Dominik Szoboszlai, the Hungarian, young, talented superstar. First 3 games that he's played every minute, and he is looking like the real deal. He's looking like he could help this team contend for maybe the title. He already has 1 goal in his first 4 games, and he's averaging 5.15 shot-creating actions per 90 minutes. And that's a really good statistic for a new player brought into this club to help this team contend for what they know they can contend for in a Premier League title. Next team we're going to look at is Manchester City. Now, Man City are looking like the Premier League champions that they are. They're 4-0, undefeated record, top of the Premier League right now. Granted, it's early, but they're looking like a really good team. And a reason for that is Erling Haaland. I think everyone knew he's one of the best strikers in the world. But after these first 4 matches that we saw him play in, I am a firm believer that he is the best striker in the world, no question. He has 6 goals and 1 assist in 4 matches. That is crazy for a player playing at Premier League standards. He's like a robot. He can do anything he wants on the field, and Man City fans have a gem. They have a true star. Now, the thing that I'm looking at Manchester City and saying this might affect them is Kevin De Bruyne. Now, he got hurt in their game versus Burnley. They won that game, of course. But he came off, and he looked to be in some pain. And after getting the results back, he is going to be out for 3 to 4 months. So we'll see how that affects them. I mean, Manchester City are still champions. They should be able to do it without a player. But this player is Kevin De Bruyne. You never know. He's the best midfielder in the world. We'll see how that affects them. Next team we're going to look at is Chelsea. And Chelsea are sort of like Manchester United, but I would say more embarrassing. They spent just over $1 billion on transfer this summer, and they have a 1-1-2 record. Majorly underperforming. Signings are underperforming. I think a big example of that is Nicholas Jackson, who has missed more big chances than any other player in Europe's top 5 leagues. Not just the Premier League, Europe's top 5 leagues. He has 6 big missed chances. If he had put those away, which he should have, he would have had 7 goals, and he would be topping the Golden Boost race right now. But he has not put them away, and he has been pretty shocking, in my opinion. Same with the rest of Chelsea's transfers that they brought in. So I don't really know. I think they're going to be a middle of the table team, unless they can really pick it up, which it doesn't seem like they can. And the last Premier League team that we're going to talk about is Arsenal. And Arsenal could be real contenders. They just keep battling. Same record as Liverpool, 3-1-0. But the thing that sticks out to me is that they battle for their wins. Now, they're getting scrappy wins. They're pulling them out by one goal. But that's a sign of a team that can contend. They're winning games that they probably shouldn't have won. And they're going to start to get into a groove, and maybe they can, get a bunch of win streaks together, face Manchester United, face Liverpool, deliver that team a loss, and then take control of the Premier League. They look like a good team. And who's leading them is Martin Odegaard, their captain. When he joined Arsenal, he was not very good. Not good at all. But he started to get into a groove. I think under Mikel Arteta, players can really perform because I think he's a good manager. And Odegaard is leading by example. He's got 2 goals in 4 games, and for a midfielder, that's very impressive. Goals aren't even supposed to be what he's going after, but he's doing that. He's doing it all, it seems. Next team we're going to look at is Real Madrid into the La Liga. Real Madrid, their record, I don't think is really reflecting how they've been playing. Now, they have a 4-0 record. They're undefeated, top of the La Liga. But the team, in my opinion, watching the games, have been underperforming a bit. And it seems like they're just getting away with the result, just getting away with the win. And maybe that's kind of like Arsenal, and they're getting scrappy wins in games that they probably shouldn't have. But I'm not sure. I'm not too certain. It seems like the player that's really saving them is Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham has 2 game-winning goals in his past 2 games. Past 2 games, he has saved Real Madrid 4 points. Think about that. This kid comes in, he's a midfielder, and he's scoring the most goals for their team. They don't have a real striker. Joselu is not going to cut it at Real Madrid. And Jude Bellingham's leading them. He's got a total of 5 goals and 1 assist in 4 games. For a midfielder, that is a crazy stat, especially in a hard league like the La Liga. So we'll see. If something happens to Jude Bellingham, I don't think Real Madrid will win the La Liga. I don't, but it'll be interesting to see if they prove me wrong. Next La Liga team is Barcelona. Of course, we're going to talk about Barcelona. And this one's tricky to talk about because they've been having close calls but still getting results. And I'm not meaning this in the way of Real Madrid and Arsenal. They're 3-1-0, but it doesn't seem like they're scrapping out their wins like Arsenal. It seems a little bit like luck is on their side in some way. Now, they're a great team. Don't get me wrong. But they've won their past 2 games by 1 goal. And then one of them was scored in the 86th minute by Robert Lewandowski, who we'll talk about later. It'll just be interesting to see if this team can hold together throughout the season. Now, granted, they are getting Gavi back from his ear injury. That will massively help them. But it'll be interesting to see if they can hold together and play as a team that we know they have capability of playing to. It'll just see if they can perform or not. All right, next team we're going to talk about is Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich look as if they're going to win the Bundesliga again. And that kind of comes as no surprise to a lot of us, because unless Dortmund or Leipzig or Union Berlin are really having a great year, it's going to be Bayern. And Bayern are 3-0-0. They have a great offense with 9 goals for in 3 games and a very good defense with 2 goals against in 3 games. And those stats help see this team start their campaign undefeated. So it looks like they're a good team. They're going to keep playing for the Bundesliga and then try to get what I think is probably more important to them in the Champions League. Now, something that could really help them get that Champions League is new signing Harry Kane, who has 3 goals and 1 assist in 3 games, so he's doing Harry Kane things. He's performing well in Bundesliga as of now. Next team we're going to talk about is Juventus. Juventus have had a decent start. The Italian side are undefeated. They're 2-1-0. But what stands out to me is that it's pretty even in contributions from everyone. So it's not like there's one guy who's running away with the goals, one guy who's running away with the assists. Everybody is kind of chipping in and putting that in. Now, that could be a bad thing, because I think most teams do want to have a guy like Haaland, like Lewandowski, like Vinicius Jr., who can bag goals day in, day out. And I think Dusan Vlahovic can do that, but early on in the season, he's not doing that. He has 2 goals in 3 games, which isn't bad, but I think he needs to get to that next level. As of now, he doesn't need to get to that next level because his teammates are performing as well. So that's a good sign for Juventus. There's no one standout player. All players are performing, but it'll be interesting to see them compete against teams like AC Milan and Inter Milan, who you know are going to have real goal scorers there and threats there. Our last team on Team Talk that we're going to talk about is PSG. And I think it's fair to say PSG have not been the same since Messi and Neymar have left. They're 2-2-0, and they're not performing as well as they should be at PSG level. You know, they have money, and they're just not performing the way they should. Mbappe's still performing. The guy has 5 goals in his last 3 games, so, I mean, you can't blame it on him. But who knows how long Mbappe's going to stay there. He obviously doesn't want to be there. We all see the transfer. He's going to end up leaving somewhere higher standard, higher competition, probably higher pay as well. But it'll be interesting to see. When he leaves, I think that's going to be the real start of PSG's downfall. They're not going to really contend in the Champions League without Mbappe. And it's going to get a whole lot tougher in Ligue 1 when Mbappe leaves. Alrighty, so we've looked at the team news regarding the biggest worldwide clubs. And now let's get into our next segment, one which I like to call Injury Insight. Injury Insight is a segment where I look at the injury reports of the biggest soccer stars all throughout the biggest leagues. Let's get right into it with the Premier League in somebody that I already mentioned earlier, Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne came out in a 3-0 victory over Burnley with a thigh injury, and he will most likely be out till next year, 3 to 4 months. So that will affect Manchester City. He's gone till next year. Next player is Trent Alexander-Arnold, who came out with a thigh injury as well, but against Aston Villa in a 3-0 win. Good news for Liverpool fans, he is likely to return by the next game for Liverpool against Wolves on September 18th. So he probably will be back unless Jurgen Klopp really doesn't want to rush it. He's not playing in the international break right now, so he should be back for that game. Mason Mount is our next Premier League player, and he also, like the other two, has a thigh injury. He came out in a 2-0 loss to Tottenham, and he's likely to return in late September versus Crystal Palace. Next injury is in La Liga. That is Memphis Depay. Memphis Depay is out with a muscle injury. He came out in the 3-0 victory over Rayo Vallecano. And like Trent Alexander-Arnold, he is likely to return mid-September. But I think he will be back against Lazio. I don't think they're going to push him in the La Liga game before. I think they're going to save him for the Champions League match. And he'll be back 100% fit for that game. Another injury is a big one for Real Madrid. Vinicius Jr. out with a thigh injury. That could be partly why Jude Bellingham is taking over the scoring mantle. But he is gone. He came out in a 1-0 victory against Celta Vigo. But he is likely to return late September as well. I think they're going to play him against Atletico Madrid. Maybe earlier, depending if they need him or not. But I think hold out, wait till he's fully fit, play him against another Madrid team. And then 2 more injuries from La Liga that I'm just going to put together. Thibaut Courtois and Eder Militao both have ACL injuries, and they will not be back till next year, probably in April. Manuel Neuer is the next injury we're going to talk about from the Bundesliga. He had a leg injury from last year in a skiing accident. But good news for Bayern fans. After all this time he's been out with an injury, he should probably be back by late September. That is good news for Bayern fans. And our last injury that we are going to talk about is someone that I know skipped my mind when I was thinking about the great strikers of world football at the moment. Tammy Abraham. He was really performing for the injury, and then unfortunately he got an ACL injury in a 2-1 victory over Spezia last year. And the bad news for him is he won't be back until next year, February. So he is going to be gone for an entire season, most likely. And that is really sad news for Tammy and for his team. I know he's getting into a groove with his team with England. And, you know, to look at this and know that he's not going to be playing, like, the game for a while, it's sad. On to our next segment, one that I like to call Rumor Radar. Rumor Radar is where I look at the top talents around the world and see if there are any rumors of them going anywhere. These rumors will vary, but it's still interesting to look at them and, examine them before they actually happen. First rumor we're going to talk about is actually a coach, and this one just came out as I'm recording this. Jurgen Klopp. So Hansi Flick has been sacked from the German national team after Japan's victory over Germany, and now many are expecting Jurgen Klopp, the current best German coach in the world, to take over that German national team spot. I don't see it happening personally. I think he's going to stay with Liverpool because he has been talking about loyalty for so long, and I don't think he'll just abandon his team like that. But you never know. The German national team is something that he has stated in previous years that he wants to do. We'll see. I still believe he will take over the German national team after his contract in 2026. Next rumor we're going to talk about, Robert Lewandowski. Mentioned him earlier. Still doing it with Barca, and that is partly why multiple Saudi Pro League teams are interested in him. It's been reported that these Saudi Pro League teams want a player like him after getting players like Karim Benzema and other good strikers. So they want to bring him in, and it's expected that they're going to make a very heavy push for the Polish striker this coming January when the transfer window opens. I don't know if he's going to go. He might. He'd take the money, leave, join a Saudi Pro League team that is now looking more and more like a good league because it has a lot of stars in it. But you never know. Next player, and I apologize if I get his name wrong. This is one that I think all soccer fans might get wrong. Kvaratskhelia? That's how I'll pronounce it. Kvaratskhelia. We all know his name's not easy to say, but watching him play the game is easy, super easy. He is a talented youngster. He looks the real deal. He's playing phenomenal with Napoli. But his agent, this kid's agent, said that he wouldn't be opposed to a Barcelona or Real Madrid move. Now, why would he be opposed to that? I don't think many would. But he openly said he's not opposed to a move like that. So that already opens some doors. Barcelona or Real Madrid can say, hey, this kid kind of wants to join us. Let's make a push for him later on. And then sources such as Mundo Deportivo have stated that he could make this move before his contract runs out in 2027. So he has a contract till 2027, but sources are saying that he wants to make this move and he could make it happen way before that, well before that. All right, on to our last segment, covering soccer in this video. It's one that I'm going to have in most videos for each sport, and this is my recommended upcoming game of the week. So my soccer game of the week is the Derby di Milano, or the Milan Derby, of course. Inter Milan are taking on AC Milan in what's sure to be a very exciting match. It's always an exciting match between the two, it being a derby and all. But these two teams are really good, and it's going to be a fun game to watch. The game is this Sunday, the 16th, kickoff at 12 Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. If you're not in those times, you can just work it out, and it is in that time. But make sure you turn in to watch that game. I know I will be, because that's probably going to be the best game regarding technical ability, goalkeeping, finishing. If you're a player and you want to look at how these players play, this is going to be it, and it's also going to be very fun because these players I know play with more passion and more heart in derby games like this. So that will do it for our first episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys tune in for next episode where we cover the NFL in its first week and everything that happened then.